out there, if you're a new podcaster, if you're a person that is just starting out, doesn't know what you're doing, just keep going. You'll figure it out. I was there 2 years ago. That's one. And two, a guy like Alex Ramosi is telling you, once you make it past 20 episodes, you're already in the top 1% of podcasts in the world. Only 1% of podcasts in the world have made more than 20 episodes. It's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Obviously the guys I watch, I watch like Joe Rogan, Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom, Patrick Bet-David, Jordan Peterson. I watch those kinds of guys. And there's a couple other guys. Elijah, is there a podcast that you saw that started really small and then grew to get really big? Anyone that comes to mind?
Oh, for sure. I started watching these two guys. They're not like political podcasts but they're like a comedy podcast. They started 4 years ago. I started watching them around 2. They had about like 100K subscribers at the time, but they're now past 1.2 million subscribers with about to hit 400 episodes.
That's awesome.
And so one of them had to convince the other to quit their job so they could do this. And like they had no money. They were getting no money. They barely had any fans, but because the guy trusted the process and he didn't like give up on his friend, this is where they are now. They're doing a tour in America right now.
That's awesome.
They're based in the UK. You probably heard of them.
The Fellas?
No, Shits and Gigs.
I might have seen it. Yeah.
But the Fellas too have a good story too.
Yeah.
So
what's their deal? The only episode I've ever seen of the Fellas was them when they had Andrew Tate on. I've never.
The Fellas.
I know they're comedians, but
yeah.
But other than that, I don't really.
To me, I'm more into like comedy podcasts because like if I want to like because they also talk about interesting stuff too, but it's like I'm just trying to have a good time. You know what I mean? I don't like podcasts where it's like they like talk about negative stuff all the time.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, like kind of like news anchor podcasts.
Nah, I'm good. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. 100%.
I used to watch a lot of Fresh and Fit back when they were like popping.
Yeah. Funny enough that you mentioned Fresh and Fit. Obviously, I was there. I was on Fresh and Fit on Wednesday, which is crazy to have my 100th episode right after I go to a podcast that's basically where I want to be, Yep. You know what was gangster?
What?
You walk in. So they live in this super, super, super fly apartment in a Brickell.
Can't imagine.
You walk in. It's one of those joints where the elevator goes up. You walk in, and then you're in the apartment, right? Bro, the elevator opens up, and it's this little foyer. It's like a little reception, little area, and then the main door to go into the house is here. Mm-hmm. As soon as you open the elevator, right in your face, boom, Fresh and Fit. Like this big. I think I showed you a picture.
That's fire.
But I was like, man, this is badass. You take a left, you walk in, right, into the apartment. They have like a 4-3. It's a pretty big apartment. They have a wraparound balcony. You walk in, you make a right, and you go. Their branding is everywhere. All that Grand Theft Auto animated theme, Fresh and Fit, all that. It's everywhere. The roofs all have soundproof boarding. It's a legit operation. They probably have like $200,000 worth of equipment in there. So I walk in, and then there's the kitchen, and then the living room is the podcast area. Bro, Fresh and Fit, this big Fresh and Fit brand pack thing, like it's made of metal, and right under it, there are 5 YouTube plaques, bro.
That's
the gold one of 1 million, and then 2 on each side of 100,000. They have 4 silver plaques and a gold plaque.
That's what you're trying to get to.
Yeah, I walked in and I was like, "Yeah, this is a sign. I'm on the right path."
that kind of reminds me when
bro.
I don't know if we can mention where we went to, but when we went to Vegas,
we can mention it. Yeah,
okay, when we went to Lightspeed,
yeah,
we went up the elevator, and the first thing we saw
Lightspeed.
That's legit.
Yeah, bro. You walk in and it's like, yo, it's crazy to see something online so many times, and then you're there in person.
Yeah, right.
And then you get to meet Brad Lee, who's responsible for how many people online that are huge. He's worked with, obviously everybody knows he was big behind Grant Cardone, and probably Grant Cardone probably wouldn't be where he is if it wasn't for Brad Lee. And now he's working with huge guys like Andy Elliott. He's worked with Tony Robbins. He's worked with Jordan Belfort. He's worked with Damon John. I mean, you name it. And to be sitting there in the guy's conference room, hearing the guy talk, doing business with the guy, it's crazy. It's just a sign that I'm on the right path. Definitely. I talk about it all the time, man. There's people who work really hard and don't get the kind of opportunities I've been getting lately, and I'm very blessed. I'm very humbled. I'm very excited, and I don't take them for granted. I realize that I'm about to approach my season, I guess. About to approach my season. It's getting interesting, that's for sure. Alrighty, guys, we'll be right back. We're going to hear really quick from our first sponsor. Alrighty, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to bring you a word from our sponsor, Christian J. DePaz. Appreciate him for coming through. He offers a phenomenal service. Guys, you know I'm a big promoter of entrepreneurship, owning a company, starting a business, doing your own thing, and chasing your own dreams. But as the old saying goes, takes money to make money. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Christian J. DePaz and what he does. He gets funding for new and startup businesses. Christian, tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you so much, bro, for giving us the opportunity to come inside your podcast and help more entrepreneurs start their own business or scale their current businesses. So what we do here at Secure Funding is that we'll help you acquire anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000 at 0% interest rate business credit, so you can once again start or scale your current business. So if you come here from our good friend Nelson, there's no other you're coming from the Mulhana Method Podcast, and we'll take extra good care of you. With that being said, brother, thank you so much for bringing us on.
Of course, of course. What are you waiting for, guys? Click the link in the bio. Man, that's a whole nother, don't even get me started. I remember I started and I was like, man, it'd be nice to have 1 million YouTube subscribers and be rich and make a shitload of money, but if I could just get one sponsor, right, I think that'll give me enough confidence to now I got 2.
Yep.
2, baby. Oh man, it's just crazy to think about, dude. Like, this didn't exist 2 years ago. This was not even an idea 2 years ago. It wasn't even an idea in my head.
That's crazy.
And now you got all this, man. Oh, bro.
That's all it takes, though.
Yeah.
All it takes is an idea.
And a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. But it all starts with the idea.
Can't forget that part. And a lot of work, man. It does start with the idea, though, for sure. It starts with the idea and getting out of your own way and just doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because as everybody knows, everybody has great ideas, but how many people act on those ideas? Mm-hmm. Not many. Not only do they not act on them, they're like, oh, I can never do that.
Yeah.
You
too
know,
far.
Bro, we are so much closer and so much more capable of accomplishing the crazy, wild dreams we have. I was in federal prison 13 months ago. Like, I recorded 2 full seasons of my podcast. I was on Fresh and Fit last Wednesday. I met Bradley in Lightspeed, Las Vegas. Like, we're co-founding a media company.
Yeah.
Man.
That's crazy in 13 months.
13 months, it's a lot. And what's crazy is these next 13 months are going to make those 13 months look like nothing.
Yeah.
You know everything that's cooking.
Yeah.
We're getting to take off. Hop on the rocket ship because we're going to the moon, baby. Yeah. Watch out. Don't fall off. You're going to get lost in space. For real, for real. You know, Cubans have a saying, sube de cohete que nos vamos para la luna. Get on the rocket ship because we're going to space. It's a funny saying that us Cubans have. But yeah, man, seeing those plaques, it was just like, that's fire. And how could we forget Ian Big? How are we gonna forget Ian Big, bro?
Oh shit, yeah.
I was on Ian Big in March.
Yeah.
Shit. That's when things really started moving this year.
Yeah, that was actually like the first stepping stone to like
for sure.
Everything rolling.
Because what happened there was after I was on Locked In with Ian Big this year, he posted a clip of me. I mean, obviously on Instagram and stuff, but he posted a clip of me on TikTok, and that's when my TikTok really started moving, bro.
Yeah.
He has a clip of me on his page with 1 million views, and people started looking up Nelson Rodriguez story, Nelson Rodriguez FBI story, and they started seeing all these old clips of me that I have on my page of me talking about how I got arrested and all that. And bro, now I have clips that are super old. I probably posted them 6 months ago,
Right.
maybe more. They were actually one of the first ones I recorded with you here. Literally the first and second one. Bro, they're like at 100,000 views, 150,000 views. These are clips I posted months ago that I got 700, 500.
That's fire.
It goes to show you, man. You never know. You know what I love about making content? It's almost like planting a seed sometimes. Like that video, you think just because that video didn't get 10,000 views or 100,000 views or a million views in the first day, you're like, oh, it failed. Not in my experience, bro. I've had several of my videos get nothing, and then later they just take off. You know, it's like planting a seed, like a farmer. You plant a seed. You can't just like plant it in the ground and the next day open the ground and look at the seed. No, bro. You got to leave it there. You got to leave it there. Like, got to water it. Look after it. Got to make sure it gets sun. Make sure it gets enough water. Has to last through all those seasons. And then in the fall is when you can finally, you know, pick up your crop. It's very comparable to the seasons, I would say so. You ever read the book Seasons by Jim Rohn?
No.
Oof. Y'all are missing out if you have not read that book. Go listen to one of the seminars. Either way, on YouTube. On YouTube, it's free. Look up Jim Rohn Seasons. Any seminar where he talks about the seasons of life. Man, he compares spring, summer, the fall, and the winter to seasons of life. And he walks you through how each season is a different era of life and how you need to recognize what season of your life you're in. And if you recognize the season of life you're in, you'll be able to take advantage of it accordingly because you'll be able to understand what you're supposed to be doing in each season. So, for example, in the springtime is when farmers plant a seed, right? It's when they start working on their crop. Springtime, and if we're the analogy of springtime in your life is the season of opportunity. Mm-hmm. It's when opportunities come your way. It's when you see new things arising and you need to start working on those opportunities. Okay. Because if not, they're just going to pass you by. If you don't plant your seed in the spring, you're not going to get a crop in the fall. You're not. So you need to take advantage of that opportunity when you see it and start working on it so that later you can reap the rewards. Because if you just let it pass by, it's gone and it's not coming back. And it's the same thing. If you let the spring pass by and you don't plant your seed, you're not eating. Like, you're not getting a crop. Exactly. So that's the spring in a nutshell. He goes way more in depth. You move on to the summer, and the summer is when you have to work on that seed, protect it, make sure it gets what it needs, the proper water, fight off the locusts, fight off all the bugs trying to eat your crop, all that stuff. It's the same thing in life. So you found this opportunity, you're working on it. You got to fend off all the things that get in your way. Distraction, I'll tell you right now, distraction is a cancer to opportunity. It really is. Once you have an opportunity in your hands, whether it's a business, whether it's a career choice, whether it could be whatever, it doesn't even have to be financially related. It could be a new relationship that you just got with a new person, a new girlfriend, like a new part of the world, a new city you just moved to. This could be representative of many things. When you receive these new opportunities in life and you're working on them, be prepared because everything and anything will come after you to try to attack you, to try to take that opportunity from you, to try to discern you, like deter you from working on that opportunity. Just be prepared because you're going to have to fight all those things off to protect your opportunity and to keep working on it and to keep make sure it stays on track to work. So just like locusts come to eat your crop, like things are going to happen to take your opportunities. And sometimes in life, your crops get eaten. And there's, even if you try to defend your crop, it still might get eaten. Like in life, you might still work hard on your opportunities and you still might fail. That's the reality of life. If you sow, you might reap. That's the law, right? Like if you plant a seed, you might sow a crop. If you pick an opportunity and work on it, it might work out. But the inverse, like, that's a maybe, right? But the inverse is like absolute. If you don't work on the opportunity, nothing's going to happen for you. Period.
Yeah.
If you don't plant that seed, you're not going to get a crop in the fall. Like, period. Take that to the bank. So, yeah, it might not be fair, but that's how it works on our planet. And when you have your own planet, you can make your own rules, but that's how it works on planet Earth. It is what it is. Like, yeah, things might not work out for you. You might fall flat on your face. You might fail. You might work really hard. And it might not work out for whatever reason. But you got to give it a chance. You got to try.
Well, it goes back to the basketball analogy, where it's you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You might shoot 100, you might miss a few, but you might make a few. If you don't shoot any, then nothing's ever gonna come to you.
What's that Michael Jordan quote? He's like, he talks about I've missed 10,000 shots. I've done this many fouls. I've like he talks about all the failures in his games, and then he's like, that's why I win.
Like he shot this many shots, but he missed. Missed a lot more.
This many game-winning shot. I've missed this many game-winning shots. This many free throws. I've done this, and it's crazy. And it's like, man, that's why he's the best. It's literally why he's the best. So going back to the seasons of life, that's exactly what it is. You could choose not. Oh, but I could fail. Okay, well, you're definitely not going to succeed if you don't take the opportunity. If you don't go out there and take a chance, it is what it is. And then comes the fall, when you get to harvest your crop. So if you did what you needed to do, then the results show in your crop. Meaning, if you took advantage of the opportunity that came your way, if you started working on it, put in the hard work, you stayed focused, stayed disciplined, stayed consistent, and worked on it for a long enough period of time, you get to reap the rewards. When you plant a seed, when you water it, you take care of it day in, day out, when you protect it, and you make sure it gets what it needs, you get to sow a crop. You reap what you sow. If you didn't take advantage of an opportunity in the spring, if you didn't plant a seed, if you didn't protect it and work on it in the summer, if you didn't work really hard on your opportunities, if you didn't go out and shake hands and network and meet people and try to find money for your business and start your podcast and record an episode consistently every day or every week, if whatever your thing is, right? If you didn't stay consistent, stay true, and like be real with yourself and keep that promise you made to yourself, the results show. Time comes, a year later, and you're doing the same bullshit you were doing a year before. You're out partying every weekend with your friends. Your life didn't progress. You didn't lose the weight you wanted to lose. You didn't make the money you wanted to make. You didn't meet the girl or the guy you wanted to meet. And your life just looks exactly the same. Why? Because you chose to not do something different and take a chance on an opportunity. It is what it is. And then a year, 2, 3, 5 years later, you see your friend or a close family member or something that has been working very hard on something they decided to pursue, and then the results are evident, right? Like, the results are obvious. That's what I love about results. You don't have to do much talking. The results are just there. They speak for themselves, right? And that's why the winters are hard for many people. If you didn't plant your seed, work on it, protect it, and then harvest a crop, guess what? The winter is going to be rough for you, buddy, because you're not going to have any food to last throughout the winter. And back then, that's the only way to survive, winters were hard, very, very hard. And that's the winter, metaphorically, in life for the bad times. The people who didn't prepare, who didn't decide to dedicate time and effort into something, didn't work really hard on it, obviously didn't show any results because they didn't do anything. And then when bad times come, it's really bad. Bad times are bad for everybody, but they're worse for the people who didn't decide to, like, all right, this is what I'm going to do in my life. Didn't pursue a purpose. They were just out there living life, YOLO, it is what it is, whatever. Winters are very bad for those kinds of people who didn't prepare. However, winters are typically great for the people who did prepare. They have their crop, they harvested, they reaped the rewards of all the hard work. You went out there and you worked on your opportunity. You took advantage of it. You worked really hard, even when things didn't look like they were going to work out. You worked on it anyway. You showed up on time when you had no money, when no one gave a fuck about what you had to say, when no one wanted to look at your face, when everyone thought you were a joke. Guess what? You were still working. And because you kept working, things lined up. Things came your way eventually because you didn't quit. And guess what? Now you got your results. So when quote-unquote bad times come, you have the results from what you worked on. So instead of you being here, right, and then falling down here, you're up here and you fall down here. It's a big difference. Life is ebbs and flows. It does go up and down. It's not a straight line, no matter how much you want it to be. That's just a law of nature. The difference is if you work hard to go to the peak, your valleys aren't as low as someone who's way down here, still in the valley. If they're in the valley and there's a lower valley, they're going to go even lower. So that's basically what the Seasons of Life is. It's a really good book. I'd recommend everybody go check it out. There's probably a free seminar, Jim Rohn, Jimrohn. He's a guy that's changed my life. And it's crazy that on episode 100, I ended up talking about Jim Rohn because he's the first person I ever listened to, like the first audiobook I ever heard, the first seminar I ever watched on YouTube, the first few books I started reading. Jim Rohn really, really changed everything for me. He has a really simple way of explaining things. He says things like, don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. What? I never thought of it that way. Wait, so things are the same, like things are always going to be hard no matter what. But I can increase my skills. Like another thing he says, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. What? There needs to be no less challenge. You only need more wisdom. Wow. Like, I never thought of it that way. Life is hard for everybody. It's not about wishing life was easy because that's a waste of time. Life is never going to be easy. It's about getting better. Wait, but I can get better. I can learn new skills. I can learn how to solve this issue. This issue has a solution, and I could potentially look for it and find it and become the person capable of solving anything. Wow. And then the market's going to want to pay me. That's the exciting part. What? Man. If you just look at life a little different. I owe a lot to Jim Rohn. He taught me so much. I recommend everybody. Matter of fact, I'll put something in the YouTube description. If you get this far into the episode, I'll throw one of my favorite Jim Rohn seminars in there. You can go check it out. The man changed my life. One of the few seminars I still haven't been able to check out is Jim Rohn because, unfortunately, he passed away back in 2009. He was in his 90s, so, I mean, he lived a great life. Amazing guy. Touched many lives. He is the godfather of personal development. There was really no one who did it like him before him because he crossed over into the modern era. He started way back in, like, the I forgot what year he was born in. Maybe the 1940s is when he started. And then he got big in the 70s is like when he started really doing a lot of speaking engagements and that kind of stuff. So he started in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So he's one of the few guys who really brought his teachings all the way through several generations. He started with almost the baby boomers, went into Gen X, went into the millennials, and even started a little bit with Gen Z. So he's immortalized. He really is. And that's inspiring because that's what I hope to be like one day. Just leave some legendary one-liners for everybody to be inspired by. Anyway, we're going to hear from our second sponsor. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, the familiar voice of your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., taking a quick detour to talk to you about the best jewelry shop on the internet, Gus Villa Jewelry. Let's be honest here, guys. Jewelers in Miami are super shady sometimes. I've even been ripped off once or twice by one of these self-proclaimed alchemists that ended up being these weirdos who sell you a bunch of stuff that make your neck and your fingers turn black. Let me tell you, after I met my boy, Gus Villa, he elevated my bling game. The Gus Villa team, these guys are more than just jewelers. These guys are magicians. precisions, turning metal and stone into your next head turner. Trust me, these pieces shine so much you can see them from outer space. Head over to GusVillageJewelry.com, and because you're a Monty, that's right, part of the Montana Method crew, you can use the promo code Montana to snatch 5% off your order. You don't just get hooked up with some shine, you get to have some dough in your pocket. Double whammy. So guys, what are you waiting for? Elevate your jewelry game. Show the world what you got. You got some style, you got some bling, you're all blinged up. Come on back after you do that. We've got more Montana Method Madness waiting for you. Now back to the podcast.
So I was gonna say, Nelson, that the analogy of like when people are not ready for the wintertime and because they didn't like prepare themselves, you could also look at that as a realization point for some of those people where it's like, if I keep going like this, I'm never preparing, and every time the winter comes,
it gets worse.
It gets worse and worse and worse. So that could be a point where it's like, when they're at their lowest point, they realize like, oh shit, maybe I should start doing things differently. You know, maybe I should start planting my crop during the fall and all that. And then once they get a little bit of taste of the winter where they're actually prepared, and then it could be a step by step change.
You're right.
Because it doesn't always have to be, oh, when the winter comes, there's always someone who's in the good or the bad. It could be someone who's prepared and someone who's learning. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Because sometimes I think as humans, we have to go through these really rough experiences to learn. I'm a person that in the darkest times of my life, I learned really profound lessons. So I know that dark times and quote unquote bad times have an important role in our lives. You know what I mean? So it's not so much about bad times are never coming. That's a fallacy. Bad times will always come, just like good times are inevitable too. It's part of life. It's yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. And you're right. I think it might be in stages. And for me personally, those dark times, they taught me important lessons, but they also taught me like, man, I never want to be in this position ever again.
Right.
So it's inevitable, and it's good for you for moments like that to happen because it wakes you up. It wakes you up. Like most of the times you don't even know, you're not conscious of what's going on, of the actions you're taking and the patterns that you kind of live through. And then something bad happens and it's like, oh, wow, that happened because, man, I'm being lazy. Or, wow, like, I really act that way. I really do these things.
Yeah.
That happened because of me. Wow. All right, no, I'm not letting that happen ever again, you know? So it could be anything. Your business could fall apart. You could be flat broke. I'm like, man, I never want to not have money anymore. You could have a heart attack because you're out of shape. Oh, man, I can't let this happen ever again. You got to start eating right, you know?
You could even say that most bad times aren't even bad times. They're only bad if you don't learn from them. Most bad times are just lessons that we need to learn.
Bro.
So, and once you see it from that perspective, is there...
Whoa!
I tried.
You tried.
Spider-Man.
You tried.
But I'll pick it up in a second. Where it's
All
like,
right.
most bad times are just lessons that we need to learn.
You're right. And they're going to keep happening to you until you learn the lesson. Yep. Like, if you don't learn that lesson, trust me, it's going to happen to you again. That's kind of our life. It's these karmic cycles of things that happen. What do I... Man, that reminds me of another really good Jim Rohn quote. He says, I have people that walk up to me and say, why do things always happen like why do... Jim Rohn says, I have people that walk up to me and say, why do things like this always happen to people like me? Why do things like this always happen to me? And Jim Rohn says, I don't know. All I know is things like that always happen to people like you. Jim Rohn is crazy, bro. He's right, though. Like, those kinds of things only happen with certain kinds of people. And it's the people who refuse to learn. They don't want to learn the lesson. They see that it's really the root cause of the problem is them, but they don't want to admit that, because if you admit that you're the cause of your own problems, you're also admitting that you're the solution to your own problems. And no one wants to accept responsibility, because if they accept responsibility for the things that happen, they have to face the realization that ultimately, they're the only ones who can solve their problems. bro, that was profound. Like, I remember realizing that. That was crazy. That was a crazy moment in my life. And especially, don't even get me started down here in Miami, boy. People love playing the victim.
Oh.
Boom. I love,
Yeah.
man, the best investment I ever made was that shot case, let me tell you. Yeah, man. For those of you joining us on TikTok, pardon the technical difficulties. Oh, man, that's crazy. It's all right. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm not worried. Anyway, guys. So, that's super important, man. Jim Rohn, The Seasons. You can pick up the book. I personally like his seminars, so that's what I would check out if I were you. Like I said, I'll leave it in the YouTube description. Make sure you go check it out. You're going to learn a lot. Make sure you have a pen and paper, because first time I heard that, I took so many notes. It was crazy, bro. It really was. It was wild. So there's so many little things that he teaches that are, to this day, I use them. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. There needs to be no less challenge. You just need more wisdom. That's the main one, He has a bunch of other ones. Another one. What's another one that he has? If something's really important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. Boof. That's a really good one, bro. If something is really important to you, you will find a way to make it happen. If it's not important, you're just going to find an excuse not to do it. You really are. And it's funny when I even put myself in this category, because I'm human and it still happens to me. When it's like, oh, did that get done? No. No, but, it was rainy that day, so, no, I couldn't. No, it's not that you couldn't. You chose not to. There's a difference. But just say that. Don't say, oh, no, I couldn't do it because of this. Is it you couldn't do it because of that, or you really just didn't want to do it? It wasn't important enough. I went to this seminar a long time ago named Gratitude. I wish I could invite people to it, but it doesn't exist anymore. And one of the trainers who did the seminar said, whenever you're telling someone, oh, I forgot, what you're really telling them is, it wasn't important enough for me to remember. Because if I told you that I had $100,000 waiting for you, and all you had to do was knock on my door at 4 a.m, you'd be at my house at 3:30. You'd probably sleep outside my door. God damn.
Just down.
Yeah, that phone. But because it's not important, getting up at 5 a.m. to go work out at the gym, that's not important enough for you. You don't see the reward. There's no immediate reward. So for you, it's like, whatever, So it's all perspective, man. If something is important, you'll make it happen. If you're tired of being overweight, like I was, you'll start working out, you'll start eating right. If you're tired of being broke, you're going to get your ass up and go find your opportunities, go work, go find ways to make more money so you're never broke again. If you're tired of being in a toxic relationship, you're going to break up with that person. You're going to realize that you deserve better. You're going to stop being with that person and move on with your life. And the inverse is also true, right? If you're with a great person that you really love, and you've been mediocre to them, then you're going to stop being mediocre to them and you're going to be the partner that they deserve if they've really supported you every step of the way. You pick your poison. There's many different ways you can slice the cake. You can skin the cat. That pertains to every single part of your life. It really does. Man, if it's important, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. That's priceless, bro. That really made me, whenever I felt any resistance or things got hard when I was pursuing a dream or some goal, some crazy idea I had, I always remembered that quote. Is this important to you? It is. Then you'll find a way. If you make an excuse right now, this was never important to you. Mind-blowing, bro. Life-changing stuff. Alrighty, guys. So, this has been episode number 100 of the Montana Method Podcast. Appreciate all you guys that watch the podcast. This would not be possible. Bro, I have 1,100 subscribers on YouTube. To me, I might as well have 1 million. 1,000. What, bro? I hit 1,000 subs not too long ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And me and Elijah were both like, "What? 1,000 subs? I rule the world right now, bro. I'm on top." That's the crazy thing, dog. It's only up top from here. There's nowhere to go but up.
Exactly. No way.
There's nowhere to go but up. If you could do 1,000, you could do 10,000, you could do 100,000, and you can do 1,000,000. All I gotta do if I have 1,000 is do it 10 more times, and I'm at 10,000.
Yep.
All I gotta do if I'm at 1,000, I gotta do it 100 more times, and I'm at 100,000. All I gotta do if I got 1,000 and I want 1,000,000, do it 1,000 more times. I'm at 1,000,000, just like that. And what you need to count on is momentum, right? Because you're like, damn, it took you like a year and a half. It didn't took me, because I started the YouTube channel in November of 2022. So it was about a year. It took me a year and a half to get 1,000 subs.
Yeah.
But now it's compounding, right? That's the crazy part. Now it's not going to take me, in this next year, mark my words, remember what I told you. A year from now, I'm probably going to hit 100,000 subs in the next year. Watch.
Probably. I mean, no, you will.
Watch me do it. And forget me. Like, it's not about me. You're going to see like the people I help do it. That's what's going to take it to the next level. It's cool when you do it, but when you help other people do it, I'm going to start helping people get their first 1,000 subs on YouTube, and that's when this is going to get crazy. It's going to get wild. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate everyone who's tuning in on TikTok for the first time. We're going to make this a regular thing. Start going live on other platforms at the same time. Any closing thoughts, Elijah?
Yeah, there was something you said earlier about how even though Jim Rohn was in all those years ago, that we're still dealing with the same problems, and you kind of realize that even from the beginning of the time, we're always dealing with the same problem.
Always.
It just comes in different faces, you know? So it's always good to like look back and read from wisdom of how other people went through
People
stuff
came
and
before us,
how they perceived through it. So just something to notice,
definitely
think about.
That's why I love history. That's why I love history, because I get to, you read about these people that have gone through these insane things and done these crazy things that you never thought were possible, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize, holy shit, this guy went to war with this giant country and he won, or this guy invented the light bulb, or this guy was president of the United States during the Civil War. You read about all these crazy people who have done these insane things and accomplished these things that you didn't even think were humanly possible. And then you say, what's my excuse? All I want to do is make $1 million.
Yeah.
All I want to do is lose 30 pounds. What's my excuse? If President Abraham Lincoln can pull this country through a civil war, if Napoleon Bonaparte can become emperor of France and take over pretty much all of Europe, if you fill in the blank, whoever you like from history, if Thomas Edison can invent a light bulb, if Albert Einstein can come up with the theory of relativity, what's my excuse? I just want a good life. I just want to raise good kids and make good money. Come on, bro. It's more than possible. Anyway, that's enough for today. That was episode 100 of the Montana Method podcast. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in. This would not be possible without all of you. I appreciate your love and support. Thank you to every single subscriber on YouTube. Thank you to every single follower on TikTok and Instagram. Appreciate you guys. We got a lot of big things coming. If you've liked the ride so far, stick around, because you ain't seen nothing yet. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. Best believe I'm catching you on the next one. Say goodnight to the bad guy.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from to riches, rags to riches, came from rags to riches.